Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's happening,
It's
guys.
happening a little later than usual, but
Yes.
that's okay. But I have to say, I was fully anticipating my hair looking like a wreck for this
good.
podcast. My hair looks great.
Oh, great.
Right
Okay.
now. Just the way it's happening, the color of it. Those of you not watching, you got to tune into the YouTube and watch live.
Do we not all agree that Matt Steele's hair looks generally the same every time you're here?
No, every day is different.
I don't see that.
It's like how every Beyonce box is going to be different, but exactly the same. You just know they're all going to be different, but the same.
I mean, sure, but I love that you love it. And I feel like that's what's most important. Like, people don't know when you do things to yourself facially or like, I made a different haircut, whatever. It's about how you feel.
But it always drives me nuts when you're always like, oh, I look so awful today. And it's like, you look exactly the same.
But some days I do look awful. See, that's the thing.
Like, you always have wonderful skin and your hair is always the length that it is.
Sometimes it's a little too long, A. And B, sometimes the skin is not agreeing with me as much as I would like.
The skin always looks wonderful to me.
That's very kind. And I appreciate it. And this is just the same. So I think your hair always looks wonderful.
What about my skin?
Your skin looks good too. But I was talking about your hair. We were going from your hair.
You were totally going to ignore my skin just now.
I didn't know. I had to go through every single body part of yours.
You don't know the regimen I do. The acid I put on my face to peel my skin off.
Because I just put the moisturizer on. That's all I got to do.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Two Gay Matts podcast. It's Matt Steele.
And it's Matt Palmer.
And we're being a little quiet today. We're calling this our ASMR podcast episode because we're recording this a little later, and so Grandma and Grandpa upstairs. We don't want to wake them up.
No.
But you know what? We're doing it. We're here.
This is like the live action version of Don't Wake Daddy. Remember that video game? Or not video game, that board game.
The board game. Oh yeah, if it was a video game, I never would have played.
I don't think I ever played, but those commercials were thrilling.
Oh, every game in the 90s was amazing.
You were in?
I was in for every single board. And I'm not a game girl, but every board game, those commercials that were on Nickelodeon, they could make anything look thrilling.
I mean, Sorry was great. Of all of those games that had a million commercials in the 90s, Sorry was my shit.
Sorry was always okay to me.
Oh, I loved
Not
Sorry.
my favorite.
I loved Sorry.
I don't know.
What was your favorite?
I liked the more I loved the Goofy Golf Machine.
What the hell is that?
It was like this big, I loved the games where you needed to build a whole contraption. And then there was one moment you were waiting for where you could just make it all go off, like fireworks or something. Like, what's it called? The mouse escape, whatever, the mouse.
I don't know her.
Mousetrap, I believe the game was called.
I believe you.
There was also a great game called the Peanut Panic game, which was like this little peanut machine.
Wait, what was the one where you shot the balls at each other and it was kind of like you were playing air hockey, but it was little miniature marble-sized balls? It was maybe space or...
I remember something like that.
Airplane related?
I had one of those where it was kind of like a hockey thing, sort of like an air hockey thing, but also once it went into the other person's goal, it pushed a lever that squirted the person with water.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool.
That's fun.
Well, I know.
That's that on that.
You know what? I'm glad we had fun as children.
I mean, that's basically the podcast for today. We have to take the joy that we can get because sometimes the world doesn't give us joy.
They were great.
Hey, Michael said, have you seen my childhood?
It was great. And now our lives are shitty.
They really are. But Matt Steele, outside of the news and the sadness that we will be discussing later, how was your week?
You know, it actually was a really great week.
Oh, that's good.
It's been a while since we've podcasted, and by a while, I mean 9 days,
right?
Because we were podcasted early the previous podcast and are podcasting a day late this podcast.
That's true.
In that time, I turned a new age, and
happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I had a couple people over, and we ate some pizza. Also, my coworker bought me breakfast in the morning.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. I got some boba throughout the day, and then had boba delivered to me by Matt Bridges, my friend.
What a thoughtful guy.
And I was totally like, oh, when people come over, they'll take a boba or something with them and everything. Nope. They all just left it at my place. So I just drank all that boba in a span of 2 days.
Hey, good for you.
And it was great. Hey, I saved money on boba.
Hey.
And so that was a very fun birthday. I had a lovely time. And then Monday, of course, it dropped. The new song by Beyonce, Break My Soul. Obviously, it's a classic. It's brilliant.
What a song.
I mean,
it's
a song.
And also a song that gets better every time you listen to it.
It really does.
I feel like it's becoming more anthemic the more I listen to it. Also, I just must point out that I believe Roxanne has pointed out that... I don't know if it's Roxanne. The game is called Crossfire. And I just
Crossfire.
Crossfire.
Yes,
it's a great game.
I remember. Crossfire.
Oh, what a theme song.
Yeah.
Almost as good as Break My Soul, which is excellent. And every time I listen to it, it feels more like a mantra to me, more anthemic. And even though the week has really tried us on that front about breaking our souls, Beyonce still is having the soundtrack of the summer. I can't wait to see what the video is like. I hear rumors about dialogue in 10 minutes and all of this. So everyone stay tuned. We're going to stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be able to react live with you. But the song is It's already a classic.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
And I also have started listening to Big Frida's, because the song Explode, it was the sampling.
Yes.
And I've been listening to that song a lot. And it's just like, this is fucking great.
I mean, Big
love
Frida's
this.
amazing.
Like, it's just that inner like primal scream that you always want to have when you're listening to music. It just feels so good.
I love
your
that.
soul. And it's building up my soul. It's not breaking my soul.
Good.
So yeah, I've been listening to the Beyonce song on loop and just having a great time. What else did I do? I don't know. I hung out with my friend Connor for a little bit.
Oh, yeah? How's he doing?
He's good.
Good.
He bought me some. We love getting trashy food together, so we got some trashy food together and had
Great.
a great time. I don't know what else did I do. I went to a baby shower.
Oh, congratulations to that baby,
Brian and Bud.
Oh, right, because I was gonna go, but I was out of town for a wedding.
Yes, because it was originally supposed to be June 12th
Yes.
that we were both supposed to go,
Yes.
and then it was pushed back to June 26th. Then you couldn't go.
How was it?
It was lovely. It was wonderful. It was hosted by our friends Jeff and Jean, and they had some wonderful baby games and everything. And I won one of the games.
What'd you win?
I won guess the baby's name game.
Okay.
Or like they had to pick which name they liked the best.
Okay.
Or they had to pick. There was a pile of names we had to write down and everything. And I just put Beyonce for a boy, Beyonce for a girl, and Beyonce for a non-binary child.
Yes.
And so I was like, first thing I came up with. And so one of the prizes was which name belonged to the most fashionable child. And they were, of course, like, whoever put in Beyonce.
Hello.
And so my prize was a free COVID test and some face wash and a Kinder Egg and like a face mask that I put on my face yesterday. And that is why I look so incredible in this video.
Did every winner get a free COVID test? Because they are very COVID safe, which I appreciate.
My prize was the only COVID test. Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Because that will come in handy.
Yes.
Because we're still not out of this.
What did you do? How was your trip? Give us all the details.
Trip was great. So we went to Reno, Nevada initially to visit one of Jackson's high school friends, John. First time I had ever met John and met his lovely girlfriend, Tara. Had a great time. He was very kind to have us sleep over. And we met a 13-year-old dog that's his family dog, but he was taken care of. I think it goes back and forth from his parents' house and his house. But that little dog, Chuki, I want to say, very kind. Has gets excited, wants to bark, but also has some like trachea issues. So he would start barking and start coughing. It was very sad, but he seems like a happy young man.
That sounds like adorable.
It was adorable. And they feed him.
I hope it's not painful.
I don't think it is. Okay. I don't think it is. And they feed him dried minnows. That's like one of the snacks they give Chuki.
Dried minnows.
Apparently they make like pet snack dried minnows.
That sounds very fancy.
I don't know that it was.
It reminds me of one time in lunch in elementary school, a girl brought sardines to lunch, and we were all just like, girl, what is this? And I was like, she must be rich. Because it was like third grade or something like that. And I was like, she must be rich.
I love the idea of someone eating a food that like you wouldn't eat or don't know about. It's just like they're rich.
Well, because like sardines, like you always see in cartoons being like eaten by like people at fancy parties or something like that.
I don't know if it's sardines.
I mean, the thing is, like, as a child, I always associated it with caviar.
Okay, yes.
And so that's why I always thought that like fish, like party food, was just always upper class.
Interesting.
But no, we all went to the same elementary school. We were all, just regular folk in New Jersey.
There you go. So after Reno, we were there for 24 hours, and then we picked up his sister from the airport. His sister and her husband were coming back from Alaska, where her husband grew up, and we picked them up from the airport, drove to Soda Springs in California, and went to this very beautiful lodge where one of Jackson's childhood friends is getting married, and they're big adventurers. So first, the next day, we were on what I was told was a very chill float down a river. Okay. And so I was there. I didn't think to bring sandals because I was like, if we're not going to get super wet, are we? I should have brought sandals. Didn't bring sandals. And it wasn't bad, but I felt like we had a rambunctious person on our boat, at least initially, who wanted to start like splashing fights with other boats.
How cute.
And like shooting like, the water guns. And then whenever people would splash back, it would unfortunately hit me and this other girl, Sid.
You were caught in the crossfire.
Crossfire. It's true. And I didn't deserve it. No. But that man, who I was not thrilled about initially, was actually wound up being lovely as the wedding weekend went on. He actually officiated the wedding and did a beautiful job. Not a dry in the house. It was truly a lovely ceremony. The lodge we stayed at was beautiful and had all of these different water features. And our door didn't lock. Like you'd close it, you'd lock it, and then you could just push it open.
Oh, isn't that nice?
That was a little nice, but
Okay.
no one broke in. So I love that I still have my iPad. I was most worried about my iPad because I feel about my iPad.
Okay, you were there with good people.
I was there with good people. So it was very fun. And then we drove up. Jackson's family went to like a family camp kind of thing, and that was about an hour away from Soda Springs where we were. So we went up and saw that camp, and they had a lot of nostalgic memories and moments there. We played some mini golf, then traveled all the way to Sacramento to take the flight back here. Landed at like 10.
Oh man! So you had to like fly. You had to drive from Reno to Sacramento.
We drove
from
Gray Eagle is what it's called to Sacramento. Okay. It was like a 2.5.
That's not near Reno.
They were kind of coming from different directions, but it was a 2-hour drive, 2.5 hour drive.
Okay, you should have stopped by a certain town in Nevada where you know the mayor.
I don't know exactly where that town is positioned, but I don't know if But hey, honestly, that mayor just liked my Instagram post today, so. Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm glad he has time within his mayoring to still like my stuff. This, by the way, if you haven't heard the past podcast, I dated a guy who's now the mayor of a city in Nevada. Anyways, I guess that is pretty much it. And
that is why we are here a little late tonight.
Yes.
Because you just came back today.
I did just come back.
And I was scheduled for work tonight, so I'm coming after work.
Yes.
I'm feeling a little greasy, but a little good.
We're making it work.
Greasy, but good.
Do we want to just...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, let's go into the news.
We don't want to, but I guess we should.
Only because it kind of ties into my week. When I woke up, I believe the second day, or maybe it must have been the first day in Soda Springs. It's, of course, a very joyous occasion. We're celebrating a wedding. These, two adventurous people found each other in Thailand and falling in love and all of this. I make the unfortunate choice to look at my phone and see that Roe v. Wade was overturned by the far-right extremist Supreme Court that we now have. And if you haven't noticed in the videos or in our podcast, I'm very bad at hiding my emotions. Mm-hmm. It is hard for me to feel the joy that I don't really feel. And I didn't want to bring down the mood of there's so many people there. No one's going to notice how I'm feeling. But the first few hours of every day were just so heart-wrenchingly horrible because my view on the rage that I feel, the fact that this all could have been avoided if people just voted for Hillary, the fact that people said that we were overreacting when he became president about this specific event, even if you knew it was coming, which we all did at a point. To see it enacted, to know that these people, 3 of whom have very credible sexual assault, accusations against them, being Donald Trump, Clarence Thomas, and Brett Kavanaugh.
And 5 of whom were appointed by presidents who did not win the popular vote.
Exactly. One of whom's seat was literally stolen. That's the thing is I understand. People get mad at me when I understand why we all need to vote, why we're all yes, this means we have to vote this November. But it doesn't stop the rage I feel because it's we're playing a rigged game. Everything about this has been fake and a fraud and nothing about this is fair. And so putting the onus back on the people and being okay, well now we just have to pull ourselves up and they've been working towards this for 50 years. But it's the way they've been working towards it is by the most illegal and unfair. None of what they've done has been via the straight and narrow path. Everything has been cheated. It's been a cheat, and now we're stuck in this situation that no one fucking wants. No one the percent of people that are for this is so fucking low compared to the people that are against it. It just makes me sick, and I'm so saddened for every woman, every person with a uterus who now doesn't get autonomy over their own bodies, don't get to make choices over their own health. Literally, so many people with uteruses will fucking die because of this decision. The fact that this was overturned, it just makes me want to hurl. I am disgusted. You look at nations worldwide, France being oh, fuck, we've got to codify this now. We don't want to end up like them. And it's remember when growing up, we were oh, America's the best country in the world. And we're such a fucking embarrassment, a global embarrassment. And we are being held hostage by these people. I hope none of them ever have a day of peace in their fucking lives.
It's just absolutely infuriating. And you're very lucky that you did have other things that you were doing that could distract you from not looking at your phone all the time. I've just been on my phone and spiraling and just having such horrible flashbacks of the horrible shit that was going on in 2016, especially the disinformation campaigns to discourage people from voting in the future. It's just horrible to see again. It's just, and the thing that's so frustrating is the way that these people have rigged the system and cheated and everything is like the fact that it's not totally cheating. It's like they find like the loopholes that they can legally do that have, and the thing is, it absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks. I'm furious, but like, eyes on the prize, people. We have to do what we have to do. We need to flip 2 Senate houses at least, while also keeping all the senators that we already have.
Right.
The best chances we have are the Wisconsin primary, or the Wisconsin Senate race, which they haven't had their primary yet, but the Pennsylvania Senate race, which John Fetterman, if you're in Pennsylvania, you know to vote for him. Wonderful, big tall guy, wears hoodies and shorts in the middle of a blizzard. Sounds great.
Great.
There's Tim Ryan in Ohio. Please vote for him because you do not want JD fucking Vance to be the next senator of Ohio. That would be terrible. So I am taking breaths. I'm praying that there are Stacey Abramses in every state, in every town, in every neighborhood that can rally the people, build the coalition that we need to build, and keep fighting. And then if things don't happen, keep fighting after that, and keep fighting after that, and keep fighting after that. Because the reason why this happened was because it was when Roe v. Wade was passed 50 years ago, the extremely, extremely anti-choice people were like, okay, we are going to fight for this tooth and nail, brick by brick. And so as years have gone on, they voted and voted and voted for decades and decades and decades, and worked and worked. And even knowing, like, you know what, I may not be alive to see these results, but they fought for decades to see this day happen. So we have to build the coalition.
Could you imagine?
And fight and fight. And it might take decades, people, but so buckle the fuck in. Thank you.
Go to Brian Derrick's Instagram. I think it's Brian Derrick _, Brian Derrick. He made me feel a bit calmer. He's like, okay, what we do now, because like you said, it could take decades. What you do now, this is a state by state issue. So he's gone through all of the governors, all of the attorneys general, the people that like on the state level can make these decisions, and is like, this is how you donate to their campaigns. This is who you need to be, making sure people know about, making sure people vote for these specific people when the statewide elections. Cause it's like, all right, that makes things a little clearer and a little less like horrifying to me to be like, okay, we're just refocusing where our, pro-choice efforts are going for the current moment. And it's hard to not let the rage consume you. I understand it. I understand that the fact that they are doing the rigging in the most legal of ways the Democrats won't do. And that upsets me, but that's what's happening. And we have to deal with what's happening in front of us. We have to come together on the left because so many people are like, this person's not left enough. This person's too left. I will not vote for them because they're not following exactly what I believe. We can't do that. There's so many people that are aligning with racists and white supremacists that probably aren't even just because they want a fucking tax cut, and they don't care how to get it. They don't care who they fucking stomp on to do it. They don't care that their values don't align 100% because they're focusing on their single issue. We have to focus on our single issue.
Literally, this whole past couple of days has just been nothing but the song "Your Fault" from Into the Woods, where they're all screaming, "It's your fault! It's your fault! It's your fault! It's your fault!" And it's just like, y'all, I am the witch, and I am like, shut the fuck up. We need to come together to do this thing, because there are 48 Democrats in the Senate who are fighting for this. There are 2 that are pains in the asses that aren't, well, I'm not going to bring them up, but there are people who are fighting for us, and we just need to elect more. And that means voting in all of your local elections specifically, because that is something that Republicans are very, very good at always doing. And that is something that our side, for some reason, people get lazy about, and they take it for granted, especially if they live in blue states.
Because I think people just think, A, I live in a blue state, so it doesn't affect me. And B, the world will always just like vaguely become more progressive as we move through time. And this proves if we don't pay attention, if we don't fight tooth and nail every single time, that's not always going to be the
it's
case.
Literally the most famous quote from Benjamin Franklin. He walked out after signing the Declaration of Independence or I forget which one. I forget which document, but they were like, well, so what do we have? Do we have a democracy or do we have a whatever? And he said, a democracy if you can keep it. Well, motherfuckers, we have to work to keep it. It's just how it is. We have to do it. And I beg of all of you to please, please, please be aware of the material that you engage with
Yes.
on social media.
Especially right now, emotions are very high. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Try to make sure you find your sources.
And they are targeting young people to discourage young people from voting.
Yes.
There are TikTokers who are just actively like making these videos saying these things that aren't true, that are... I saw a TikTok video of a young person saying like, oh, well, you know, Joe Biden can veto this Supreme Court decision. And it's like, no, he can't.
Right.
Like, he can't. Like there
That's
are
not how it
people who
works.
are trying to spread this misinformation and to discourage people from voting. And so we cannot be discouraged from voting. And no matter how angry you are, anything online that discourages people from voting, even if like you're really angry and you want to just like it because you're feeling discouraged, everything you like gets posted on everyone who follows you's
feed.
timeline.
Yeah.
And even if you still plan to vote, there are probably some dum-dums who follow you who are easily swayed by
do it.
seeing those tweets. So do, even if, obviously I'm sure everyone listening plans to vote and everything, but do not be the thing that stands in the way of people spreading good information and right information
Right.
and information that encourages people to vote. We
Yes.
saw what happens when people are encouraged to vote. We saw what happened when Stacey Abrams took such control over Georgia and really was just like, this is going to be my mission to get more people to vote in Georgia
Right.
and get them access to polling stations and everything. And look at what happened.
I know.
Georgia turned blue in all accounts. And so we just need to keep doing that and doing that and doing that.
Right. And it's not to say that you don't have a right to be angry. It's not to say that you
It's
don't
frustrating.
have
It's naturally frustrating.
And it's not to say that there are people that are not actively working against you and us. There are people trying to gerrymander everything so that the people who like won't even have access to
And
vote,
you want to know
what I mean?
how they were able to gerrymander all these states and everything? Because Republicans voted in local elections.
Right.
And they voted for the people who gerrymander those states.
Right. But it's still, I mean, but it's like, it's fucked up. I understand it. I understand that we do need to vote. I get more angry and frustrated than I believe Matt Steele does. Just in the the fact that we're here, the fact that it feels so rigged, the fact that we are being held hostage feels, and the fact that we have voted, but we're still going to be hearing the echoes of this Trump presidency forever because that year people didn't. It makes me sick. Even though we have the majority in all branches of government at the moment, the fact that we can't seemingly do anything is very frustrating, and I think that is a valid feeling. But when it comes time, what we can do, make your voice heard, donate to these campaigns, go to the streets, protest, feel every feeling, and then when it's time to vote. We should be putting pressure on the people in power to do whatever they can. I believe AOC has a very good thread about that. The people who can do anything should be doing anything, pulling every lever that's available. I agree. But as of right now, we also need to think what we can do, what actions we can take, and that's what we're doing. All right. Pod Save America right here.
I mean, exactly.
Watch out, girls. We're coming.
I am just exhausted emotionally and
I know.
physically. But you know what? I got a cute little kitty cat on my shirt.
You
and
look
I'm just
adorable.
looking forward.
Yes.
And trying to be optimistic, because if I allow myself to give into the despair, I will crumble.
No, we will not do that. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to go over some news.
Some stupid news. Let's go over some
Because we've done the
stupid
news
news.
that's real. We're doing news for idiots. Mariah was at the BET Awards.
Oh my God, she was so good.
She was so fucking good.
She's just stood there. She walked a couple steps forward, did her thing.
So if you didn't watch the BET Awards, Lotto performed, I believe it was a medley of It's Given and She Get Into Big Energy remix. And it opens with Young Dirty Bastard, who I guess is ODB's son, who is a hip hop artist now.
I did not know that.
Yes, that's
I
who
did
that
not-
was.
that's very cute.
And he was doing the, Yo, New York in the House, Mariah on Fire rap from Fantasy before she went into Big Energy. And then she's rapping along to the Big Energy remix. And it's like, she goes, y'all ain't gonna believe this. And you could just hear the excitement in her voice. And she goes, got Mimi on the remix. And then, of course, a silhouette of Mariah appears, windswept, and she turns into several million butterflies.
I know, the explosion of butterflies.
And then the screen lifts up and she walks out.
And
Well,
she
is walked out.
Is walked out by many men.
Yes. And she comes out, she sings.
And by walking means she took 2 steps.
Of course, but it was the most beautiful. They were the most beautiful steps you've ever seen. She sings the shit out of that verse. It is not the same vocal from the album version of Big Energy Remix. Anyways, she sounds amazing. She hits every high note. My favorite part of the whole performance is there's a moment where she goes in, she's doing the ad libs over the chorus, and she's kind of looking a lot of okay, bitch, do your part. And she like waves at her. That. It's so fucking funny. She does such an amazing job. And Lotto literally gives her flowers. The fact, you know what? I'm going to say something. When Lotto first sampled this song and like would tweet things about like, Mariah sampled this, blah, blah, blah. And like would say shit about like, I don't know, just didn't seem that respectful of Mariah from a Lamb perspective. She has more than made up for it for how they have been once they've started collaborating. The fact that she brought Mariah out, got that standing ovation, which I watch old Mariah Carey performances from like award shows back in the day when she was like singing her fucking face off, and people just sit there and like roll their eyes and like barely clap. It's like, did you just hear that?
Yeah.
So the fact that she's finally getting what she's always deserved, the flowers literally and figuratively, it was a joyful moment. I watched it we were waiting for our plane when this happened. I'm just on my phone, just like rewatching this like 50 seconds of Mariah Carey.
And you're like, this is my only source of happiness right now. Please.
It brought me through. Yeah. It really brought me through.
Through the rain, as some might say.
We can make it through the rain. All right. What other piece of news happened? Okay. So apparently Company is closing.
I know.
After all those Tonys.
But going on tour. So there's going to be a tour. So it's going to be more accessible to the rest of the country.
We love accessibility.
Yes.
Also, Broadway is losing its mask mandate. That's saying
July 1st.
Making masks optional for attendees this July. How do you feel about this as our theater correspondent?
Well, the thing is, like, I don't think equity was like brought into the discussion about this. So I know Actors Equity is very upset about it, but I don't know if like legally they were like needed to be. I don't, but I can understand why they're mad, obviously.
Right.
I really can't say. It's been forever since I've been in a show. I do not know the risk that is involved right now. I do know that actors are very, very upset about it. I mean, and I completely understand it and everything. Theater is kind of like the last big event that does still have mask mandates and everything. So they were the ones to hold out the longest. But I understand why that is so, because like it's not like a concert where it's like, okay, we have one night of 1,000 people and then it's it. It's like, no, it's like 1,000 new people every night. So like that, I can understand why it's definitely the last one to keep the mask mandate.
Totally.
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, we knew that it would come eventually.
Yeah.
I really don't know if it's too soon or not. I do know that when we see Moulin Rouge on Thursday, I believe I will be wearing my mask.
And we want to thank the people at the Moulin Rouge and the Pantages for reaching out to us and allowing us to go to this show that I was going to anyways in a month or so. So I'll be seeing it twice.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I'm going with Jackson but we're going with Janie. Who are you bringing? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't asked anyone.
Oh, you got to ask someone.
I know. I completely forgot. I got like 2 tickets offered to me. So I don't know. I'm figure it out, guys. About that, though. I'm excited to see it. And thank you so much, Moulin Rouge. We appreciate it.
Oh, and sorry, one more point about the BET Awards. Brandy came out with Jack Harlow and did her like part of her remix to First Class. Loved that.
Yeah.
Brandy's great.
Another thing I will say about Company closing, I know a lot of people are very upset about it. And of course, it is very upsetting, like when a show closes and you want it to stay. But there also for years, especially on like Twitter and social media among theater people, was this push to, we want theater to be more accessible to everyone, to everyone, to everyone. And a national tour does that. Like
That's
a national tour makes
this
production of Company more accessible to everyone. And so I even though, I feel bad for the Broadway cast that they are losing a job, there's going to be a tour that's going to give a bunch of people a job, and people across the country are all going to be able to see this production. So it's, you chop off a limb to grow a new foot. I don't know.
Ooh,
it's a new phrase.
I don't know that phrase. I love that.
Guys, I just got out of work and my brain is fried.
We've had a long time, a long day. Don't know how important this is, but it's just weird. Shawn Mendes is starring as the voice of Lyle Lyle Crocodile in the Lyle Lyle Crocodile film.
We love it when people get work. We love supporting the economy.
We do.
Hey, more acting work than I've booked so far this month. So congratulations to Shawn.
I just love when things happen that seem like 30 Rock sketches. And I saw a tweet that was just like Jack Donaghy being like, Liz or Lemon, we got Shawn Mendes for the crocodile.
That's
just
so
like,
funny.
Of course. The next piece of news I found shocking.
Okay.
Chris Brown's
I just looked at it.
new video, WE, short for Warm Embrace.
Also a Madonna movie, WE.
Oh, yes. Also true. Was released. And the fact that we're talking about it means that something horrible is attached to it that I actually care about, because in no other world would I be talking about Chris Brown. It stars our person we've been rooting for. Person we have been making videos about when people made fun of this girl for not putting out an album because it's been 900 years since Motivation. It stars Normani as like the sexy love interest. I don't think she sings on the song, which honestly is like,
she doesn't even sing on it.
No,
she's not even making money on this song.
That's the thing.
Streams?
I'm like, would that have been better if she would have at least have gotten something from this, got something real? No, she's like the video girl in it. She's the video girl.
Oh, they could have gotten anybody to do that.
Yeah, but it's like, but it's like, Normani, we are rooting for you. We have tried so hard to be like, you could be the next big thing. This song is great. And even when the songs maybe do not as well as some would hope, we want good things for you. Why would you do this to us? Why do you not care about us? Do you not know how many gays who ride for Rihanna, millennial gays, our age, who ride for Rihanna, love you and want you to do well? And you're going to do this? And I get it. Like, Chris Brown has had a career since all of that has happened, but not really a mainstream pop one, and not one that I've paid attention to because fuck that guy.
And not really one that like your hardcore stans really follow. Because I feel like a lot of your hardcore stans, Normani, are, you know, the gays and the girls.
Absolutely.
All of whom are mad at Chris Brown. So this was just a bad idea. And like, look, I get it. Rihanna has publicly forgiven Chris Brown. I'm sure, or I hope he's gone to some therapy. All that stuff. I pray. I hope he has changed his ways and everything. But this was a bad idea.
Disgusting.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry too. This is just like, why? Why?
Man, you could have been in the studio recording your album that day.
Yes, you could have been. And instead, this is what you're doing to spend your time. And what do you want us to feel about this? I have to move on. Elon Musk's daughter has applied to legally change her name as she wants nothing to do with her father.
Okay.
Elon Musk has a trans daughter, and she's applied to legally change her name because she no longer wants to live with or wish to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form. Her mother is Justine Wilson, who divorced Musk in 2008. Well,
man, what is he like as a father? I want to know.
I mean, I hear his practices at Tesla are very racist, so maybe racist.
He's racist against his own daughter.
I mean,
they're the same race.
Well, he's very much like, I voted Democrat all my life, but now I'm voting Republican.
Yeah, he's one of those people who's like, ooh, you know,
like
I'm an independent thinker.
And like the red waves are coming. So
yeah, I don't have time for that. Thank you. We're voting blue. Thank you.
Could you imagine having a trans daughter and voting against her interests in such a violent way? Like, gross. That man's gross. And his fucking fake hair is gross. Don't like him. Apparently there's a movie, Disney's Strange World, is going to feature a gay lead.
Cool.
Love that. Oh, revealed that Jabuki Young White's character, Ethan Clade, is openly gay and has a crush on another boy, Diazzo.
Who's playing Diazzo?
I don't know.
I'll play Diazzo.
You got to get in there.
I got to get in there.
I feel like you'd be great.
Ring, ring. Hello.
Hello. Just call up Disney.
If Normani can get in for a Chris Brown video, I can get an audition for Diazzo.
I feel like those are two separate worlds. One is bottom of the barrel. Apparently, Lil Nas X, speaking of the BET Awards, he was very oddly completely shut out of all nominations for the BET Awards this year. Jack Harlow got nominated. I don't know if for his part in Industry Baby, but like the biggest thing Jack Harlow put out in the past year was Industry Baby. And also that song, Call Me By Your Name, like he had countless hits, Lil Nas X did. And then, so Lil Nas X's new single begins with fuck BET for this reason. And apparently BET had some response being like, oh, I have always... You know, we've always supported Lil Nas X. He was welcome on our stage last year, and he would, of course, be welcome again. And then someone in his team put out this from, I think, Lil Nas X. My relationship with BET has been painful and strained for quite some time. I didn't start with this year's nominations like most people might think. They did let me perform on their show last year, but only after I gave assurances that I was not a Satanist or a devil worshiper and that my performance would be appropriate for their audience.
How do you give an assurance of that?
I don't know.
He could lie.
In the team, at some point after Montero got off stage, one of the BET producers came up to me, and before I could even open my mouth, he looked at me and said, "That was really fucked up." This is after Lil Nas X kissed a male dancer on stage.
Well, it happened.
It's just like, guys, is this what we're doing? Like, Lil Nas X is one of the biggest black performers around, and you're going to go out of your way just to find a straighter person who's not even black to award and give a platform to. And like, good for Jack Harlow for wearing a Lil Nas X t-shirt on the red carpet.
Loved it.
Don't have any bad things to say about him, but like this whole BT's whole point of like, oh, well, no one cheers louder for Lil Nas X than us. It's like, that's a fucking lie. You need to get your homophobia in check because it's bullshit. It's so done and tired and over. And like, I need to look back, but I believe BT never nominated Pose for anything. I just feel like there's so much bullshit with BT where it's like, I would like to root for you. I'd like to watch that weird College Hill reality show that's coming on with Nene starring and like Lamar Odom, but I can't now. Like, don't do this. Like, you just brought on Mariah and that's a great thing, but this is some fucking bullshit. And then lastly, Olivia Rodrigo sang "Fuck You" with Lily Allen and dedicated it to the 5 Supreme Court justices.
That's right, girl. Let the young people know. Let the young people know.
She's like, these are our enemies. And she made it very clear. She said all of them by name and then said, "We hate you." Before going into the Lily Allen classic "Fuck You," which was at the time about George W. Bush. But there will always be some disgusting, vile people that we hate in politics.
What are you going to say? As long as Olivia Rodrigo is letting the kids know.
Tell the kids.
Tell the kids.
Because we don't like that.
Tell the kids.
All right. Is there any other news for idiots this week?
I don't think so. I'm exhausted and I want to cry and go to bed.
On that, we'll take a break and we'll be right back with more Two Gay Mats, the podcast.
Guys, we made it back.
It's true. We're back.
We did not, in fact, go to sleep in depression. We came back.
We're so brave.
What we always must do. Go back and go back and go back and keep fighting. Anyway, This is Email My Heart. This is the section of the podcast where we answer any questions that you guys might have. You can be a part of Email My Heart if you email us at twogaymats@gmail.com. Two is spelled TWO. Or if you are watching this on YouTube, which I hope you are so you could see my hair, then you can comment below, ask us a question, and we might answer it.
We just might.
So one question comes to us from Maxwell. Maxwell says, a Beyonce summer. Mats. First of all, happy birthday, Matt Steele. Thank you. Hope you had a wonderful time celebrating nobody else but you.
Yes.
Now, as we are all well aware, it is a Beyonce summer now thanks to Act 1 Renaissance. Well, it's also Arena summer, but that's beside the point. Stream this hell if you aren't already, listeners. Break My Soul, in the first few hours of release, has already become a staple in the summer playlist, and my anticipation could not be higher, which got me thinking, Mats, what is your ranking of Beyonce's lead singles?
Wow.
I know it's like choosing your children. I just have to know. It really is like choosing children. Because it's like, whoa.
Okay, what are we calling the lead single on?
Self-titled.
Self-titled.
Because it was EXO
and
was
Drunken
released
Love.
to pop, and Drunken Love was released to like urban.
Yes, and
or
same
switch,
went to If I Were a Boy and Single Ladies.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I just thought it was If I Were a Boy.
No, it was If I Were a Boy
that
and
makes
Single
things harder because If I Were a Boy is dead last to me.
I'm trying to think if it's my least favorite lead.
How can it not be?
I don't hate If I Were a Boy like people do.
It's just like, every time I listen, the thing is like, it's nice. She sounds nice. It's a pleasant song.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to it, I'm like, will I like this more? Will I see what other people saw in this song? And I'm just like, nah.
I think the only thing that brings it down for me is Sierra had a song that was out at around the same time called Like a Boy. That's excellent. And
Okay.
If I Were a Boy is good. It might be last for me. I would say just knee-jerk reaction. I might put Crazy in Love number 1.
Okay.
Or Deja Vu and Crazy in Love tied for number 1. I fucking love Deja Vu. Okay. I'm trying to think. Drunken Love, EXO.
Okay.
What songs am I missing?
You're missing 4 Run the World Girls, which I know you're not a huge fan.
That's probably last.
If I Were a Boy.
I think I'd put it below If I Were a Boy. I would put Formation somewhere around there. Oh, wait, no. Break My Soul. Break My Soul was under the yeah, it's put, what did I say? Crazy in Love, Deja Vu. What was the next one?
I think you said Drunken Love.
Drunken Love.
Then EXO.
I would put Break My Soul over EXO. Then it gets back. Then it's other things. Single Ladies, If I Were a Boy, Run the World.
Where would you put Formation in this?
Somewhere after that. That's we
Somewhere
can't.
after-
We
somewhere
only have
after
so
what?
much time. We only have so much time. What would your list be?
Okay, so bottom is If I Were a Boy. Then I would put Run the World Girls.
Okay.
Above that.
Yes.
And then, which is, a nice Beyonce song. Hey,
Yeah.
But like,
Should have been End of Time.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Then I would put, and I love it, but then I would put Break My Soul. I think there's a big gap between Break My Soul and
Run the World.
Run the World.
You'd put. I'm surprised.
No. Wait. If we're counting Single Ladies too, I would put Single Ladies above
Okay.
Run the World, and then Break My Soul.
And there's a big jump. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a big Single Ladies is in between two big jumps, I would say, because I do have respect for Single Ladies because that video,
Of course,
is iconic.
changed a lot of things.
Break My Soul, and then above it, I think I would put Deja Vu because
Okay.
I love Deja Vu.
It's a little low, but
I
okay.
love Deja Vu, but I have to say, out of all the songs on B-Day, there are others that I would make the first single. Like Get Me Bodied,
Of course.
to me, would have been the superior first single
Of course.
choice on that album. So that's the only reason why I'm ranking Deja Vu a little
You're putting
low.
Formation over Deja Vu.
Well, then I would put EXO above Deja Vu.
Okay.
Then I would put Drunk in Love over
Okay.
EXO, and then I would put Crazy in Love. And I would say Formation is Beyonce's best lead single.
Whoa.
Just because, okay, like it is very chanty. I know you love a melody moment, which
do love a
Crazy in
melody
Love
moment.
really has. And Crazy in Love is just such a classic.
It's a classic piece of music.
But Formation to me is her number one lead single because it is just a brilliant start to an era. It is so evocative. It just rips into your heart and rips it out of your chest. It was so shocking at the time. It is Beyonce in her zenith because this is the first lead single after self-titled.
Right. That's
this
true.
Is the height of her career, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay.
And Formation was just the political aspect of Formation, that music video, just the second she says, I got hot sauce in my bag, swag, the
Yes.
culture of, it was the moment where you realized that Beyonce dictates the culture. And she did it not through a whole album, which she did with self-titled, but she did it through a song. And I just think it was just such a huge moment in pop culture that I have to give it the number one spot.
Wow.
With Crazy in Love, I think being the second one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the thing is, if Get Me Bodied was the lead single, Get Me Bodied would be number one.
That's the thing is, you are considering the cultural impact, which I appreciate.
Yes.
I am just going strictly song for song.
Yes, I understand.
You can see what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
it's not. Am I missing a song here? I'm trying to get my list together just so I can make sure it's right.
The thing with Formation that you were very hesitant on when you first heard it, like
Yes.
of course you were very excited and you were very much like, this is crazy and she's so good at her job and everything, but you were a little nervous because it did have a 7-Eleven-ish feel.
It did.
And you were not a huge 7-Eleven
I was not.
person. But then after a while you realized like, oh no, this is way better than 7-Eleven.
It definitely is way better.
Which 7-Eleven is very fun.
It is fun.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not real. It's fun.
Like, it's more than real, but like,
Number 1, Deja Vu, Crazy in Love.
Okay.
Number 2, Drunk in Love. Number 3, Break My Soul. Number 4, EXO. 5, Formation. 6, Single Ladies. 7, If I Were a Boy. Dead last by a lot, Run the World. I do not like that song.
you really don't.
I don't.
I don't.
I've never liked it.
To me, like, I love it and I think it's very fun and it's very Beyonce and everything. But to be like the first single
Yeah.
on that great album,
Love
is
on Top,
kind of
End of
crazy.
Time, School and Life. Like, there are many options that you get a giant hit. And Run the World just wasn't it for me. But I'm glad we got to the bottom of this.
Yes, and even though we may disagree, we are still voting in the same direction, and that is for Beyonce.
Yes.
Even though we may disagree about tiny details.
At some point, we're gonna have to do this with her albums after Act 1 comes out.
I know.
That'll be tough.
I know it's going to be really exhausting.
I know.
We have to do what we have to do, and the thing is, like, all of these songs are great.
Oh,
ladies
that's
and
the
gentlemen.
thing.
Except
Absolutely
for
they
If I
are.
Were a Boy-
They
If I
are.
Were a Boy, but all of
You
these
really
songs
think
are
If I
great.
Were a Boy is worse than Run the World?
I enjoy listening to Run the World more. As far as
Okay.
songwriting goes, the thing is, If I Were a Boy, it's just like, man, these verses don't even rhyme. I'm like, what is this? I really just don't love If I Were a Boy. I'm so sorry,
Wow.
Beyonce. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Otherwise, you are perfection.
To quote New York, I'm so sorry, Beyonce.
I'm so sorry, Beyonce. I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so we got another question from our dear listener, Braden, who also just commented a really lovely comment on one of our videos, by the way.
Yes, Braden is so sweet every single time he leaves a comment
An
for us.
absolute king.
So lovely.
Braden says, urgent email, my heart, Glory by Britney. That this is urgent. Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt. Hope y'all are having a lovely week. It's summer, so that's the time I annually go through Britney's discography. I have been listening to many podcasts and people who talk about Britney, not you guys, more specifically Britney stans, and Glory never comes up. And they're Britney stans? How dare you?
Yeah, how doesn't it?
I rewatched your video on it, and I'm curious to know if your opinions on the album are still the same, i.e. it being Britney's Ray of Light. I still love the album, but it seems very, very underrated. Thank you guys so much. P.S. Matt Steele, do you feel like you jinxed us by saying if this was Britney's last album? I hope I didn't. P.P.S. Matt Palmer, thank you for Matt Steele's haircut. It looks so good now, especially comparing it to back then. Matt Steele, you better thank him.
Oh, when people go back and comment on our really old videos, I'm like, turn that off.
Listen.
Like, guys, you shouldn't be watching that.
Listen, my old hair was cute and quirky.
It was.
And Braden, you are lucky you left us that really nice comment.
And there was a time and a place for it.
There was a time and a place for it. And then I rode the wave a little too long. I will agree with that.
I didn't say that.
But the thing is, like, it's like making a huge change like that. It's
hard.
I'm a very pragmatic person when it comes to making life decisions.
Yes.
And so I thought about all options and you know, I did what I had to do.
And you look great.
Thank you. Now to answer your question, Glory is still fantastic.
It really is.
Like it is to me, like if I were ranking Britney albums, to me it is number 3. I would say.
I think it's what's number 2 for you? In the Zone?
Number 2 is In the Zone.
Yeah.
I think you put Femme Fatale over Glory last time I talked to you, and then you put Glory as number 4. This was a conversation we had a while ago.
Interesting. I don't know that I would do that now.
Okay.
I don't know. I might have the same top 3 as you. In the Zone, I feel like is her. Like those 3 albums feel like the most her to me, like the most creative control she had. Even though Blackout, it's like she didn't want to talk about what was really going on. Like whenever I listen to the not Nicole Scherzinger song, the Pussycat Dolls song, Happily Never After, that Neo wrote for Britney. And apparently he wrote it for the Blackout sections. It was about a divorce, leaving a ring behind, all this stuff. And Britney would have sounded great on it. It's like right in her range. I kind of wish she had done it. But then it's like, but I also get going through all of that and like just wanting to have a wall-to-wall party album and like wouldn't change a note on Blackout, obviously. But especially Glory and In the Zone feel like they come from her creatively so specifically. And I think In the Zone a little bit more so than Glory, but you can just feel her heart and like her taste all over those 3 albums.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you say in Glory that always has stuck with me is so much of Glory was written by Julia Michaels, like collaborated with Julia Michaels and Justin Tranter. And like, obviously, like they're the Roger and Queen. They are the Rodgers and Hammerstein of pop music today, ladies and gentlemen, my heart. And so you say in our Glory review video, you were just like, at the end of the day, this is just great pop music.
Absolutely.
Like she's not trying to change the system. She's not trying to revolutionize anything. Like these songs are all just great quality writing. Like from top to bottom, they are all just great. And so to me, I just have such a respect for that. This is someone who is just like, I want to just put out great songs. Like, songs where the writing is really just good. And I'm Britney Spears, so I can. Like, put me on this.
I absolutely think Glory deserves more of its flowers just because, you know, it would kind of got the short shrift at RCA at the time. Like, she didn't have a lot of singles. It didn't get the promotion it deserved.
There was the drama around the first video, which was apparently like a disaster. Like, they shot something and then
drama around the cover.
And
like, I feel like if she was able to release Glory outside of her conservatorship, it would have been a very different story. You know? I mean, we all wonder, will she ever do another one? I think it'll probably be a while from now, but I still do have a part of me that thinks she will. If she doesn't and doesn't want to, I would never want her to. But if I were a betting man, I would bet she would at some point.
I could see that, and that will be huge. Like that will be, oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
Britney, if you're listening, Matt Palmer has songs for you.
That's true.
So this, I guess this can lead into giving me moments, but this is also an email that we got from Claudio. It says, I want to dance in the middle of a gay bar.
Yes.
Hey, Matt, I just listened to the new Muna single, M-U-N-A. Muna?
Yes.
They're a group?
Yes, they're the ones who did the Sometimes cover in Fire Island.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. I just listened to the new Muna single, and I can't believe I'm witnessing history. If the world is correct, this will be the dancing of my own this decade.
Wow.
And the song is called What I Want, I believe.
Okay.
And So I was like, you know what? I'm going to check the title name. Yes, What I Want. It's fucking fantastic.
Is it
and
really?
It's one of the things that was giving me moments this week.
Wow.
The chorus
I need to listen.
I listened to the chorus and I'm just like, I have not heard a chorus like this in a new song in so long. It felt, and the fact that the chorus was so good and just like really going for it melodically and then repeats again. Like they do the chorus twice.
Right.
Like, so often we listen to like a song and the chorus happens and then it goes into the next verse and we're like, I wish they repeated that.
I missed that chorus.
They give us this. They give us this. The song is great.
Wow.
And so I'm excited to listen to the rest of their discography because I like that Sometimes cover.
Sometimes cover's great.
So I loved that. Another thing that was giving me moments this week, the new Rina Sawayama song.
I need to listen to that too.
Because you were traveling. You have an excuse.
It's true.
Well, it's a reason, not an excuse.
Okay.
That's what I'll say about that. It's great. It's so big and expansive and beautiful and glorious. And her voice, she's like in head voice for like a lot of the chorus, but it sounds so full and rich and beautiful while still sounding poppy. Like it's a great song.
Wow.
Rina Sawayama just knows how to quote Matt Palmer in the Glory video, the review video, this is just great pop music.
Yes.
She knows how to make great pop music, and I'm so excited to hear the rest of the album. It's a disgrace that we have to wait until September or whenever.
I know, it's too long.
Girl, just drop it now. Let's go. We're ready. Like, we might not have a country in September. Like,
Truly.
let's go. No, we will, because we'll vote. Anyway.
Right.
And another thing that was giving me moments was I was very lucky to be a guest on the podcast, What Were We Watching?
Yay.
Again, I've been a guest before, and we were both guests together.
Yes.
It's a podcast hosted by our friends Eric and Cam, and they talk about movies and television of our past, like in the 90s and everything, and the nostalgia of it, and going back and watching them again as adults and seeing what we've learned and everything. The episode we were on together was debating what was better between Spice World and Glitter.
Yes.
It's a very tumultuous episode, I must say. But I got to be a guest again, this time talking about one of my favorite comedy movies starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Martin Short. It's a movie called Clifford, and it is you feel like it's an SNL sketch movie, except it was never an SNL sketch. It's about Martin Short plays a 10-year-old boy who is a sociopath, and he's obsessed with dinosaurs. And he basically gets trapped in LA with his uncle, who promises to take him to Dinosaur World. His uncle breaks that promise, and Clifford goes insane and ruins the uncle's life. And it's and just getting the chance to go back and watch this movie that I watched all the time as a kid, and just seeing it as an adult and seeing how the comedic beats work and how the spatial comedy works in so many of the shots and everything, and just Martin Short's brilliance and Charles Grodin's brilliance. He plays this curmudgeon uncle who just plays off of Martin Short so brilliantly, and just watching it again, like I hadn't seen it in like a decade and a half maybe.
Wow.
Like in full, and just seeing it again, it just warmed my heart, especially because it was during hard times.
Yes.
And just I can't say enough great things about it. Everyone check it out. It was a huge flop in 1994. Like huge flop.
Really?
And not because it was bad. Like everything about it is great. Like the comedic elements are incredible and the plot of the story is really great. Everything is like hit. It's kind of an uncomfortable watch because it goes along with, we talked about it in What Were We Watching. It fits the same like type of movie as like that were big back then, like Problem Child and Home Alone, where it's like the cute rambunctious kid who like really like tortures the adults and everything.
Right.
But instead of it being played by a cute kid, it's played by a creepy 40-something-year-old Martin Short.
That is a little creepy,
and
yeah.
So it's like there's something that's like deeply unsettling about this character, which is why I think a lot of people couldn't handle it as in the 90s.
Right.
Like when it came out, they were just like, this is horrible, we hate this. But it's just like, no, it's actually fucking brilliant. So check out the movie, and I can listen to the podcast What Were We Watching if you want to hear me talk about it in depth and gush about it for like over an hour, because...
And who wouldn't want that?
Who wouldn't want that, guys?
Honestly.
If you love me on this podcast, check me out.
Do it.
On all the other podcasts.
Well, for me, since no one's going to ask, what gave...
Matt Palmer.
Yes.
What was giving you a moment this
thank
week?
you
Since
so
you
much.
just came up with it right now, it's fresh in your mind.
I must say if you're a Housewives person and you've been paying attention, you have known that the Real Housewives Ultimate Girl Trip 2 ex-wives club was coming out for a long time. You knew the cast and you probably were like, oh great, Phaedra, Jill, Vicky, Tamra, Dorinda. I feel like I'm missing someone. And then you probably looked and were like, Eva? Because Eva was on, and she, as much as I loved her on America's Next Top Model, she was not like the best housewife of all time. In fairness, she was also pregnant like every single season she was on, which just like limits you a little bit. You can't really get crazy and drink, whatever, do what you want to do. Eva is a shining light on this ex-Housewives edition, and also just this concept of the show. They're bringing on all of these former housewives who got fired from their respective franchises. They all meet up in Dorinda's house in the Berkshires for a week, and you know, whatever happens. They like have these like planned games and events and things, but of course it's more about them interacting and, you know, meeting each other where they are and talking about their time on the show and like why they were fired and all this stuff. It's on Peacock. The first 3 episodes dropped on Thursday. It is such a joy and a balm, much like you said, while the world was crumbling around us. It was so nice to have something that just felt like comfort food.
Yes.
And like, I remember when it first dropped, how people were like, okay, the embargo's over. I saw the first 3 episodes. I think it's too dark. I think it just reminds you why all these... It's too dark. It reminds you of why all these people were fired in the first place. Because I mean, yes, is there a moment where Vicky, who is horrible, is talking about being anti-vax and how she's so glad she got COVID last like 2 weeks ago, blah, blah. And like it's in a screaming argument with Dorinda, who's very pro-vaccination because she has a brain. Yes, but I thought that was fun. I think seeing them all together is just such a crazy situation. Like it's something that you would just dream up and imagine, like to see how they interact. There are like connections being formed you never would have expected. Like Eva and this girl, you remember Taylor from Beverly Hills? Who had the husband who committed suicide.
Yes.
And they bonded about like being in abusive relationships and like raising the daughter of their abuser and like how they stayed in that relationship too long and how they can look their daughter in the eye and explain why. And it just is like, I never even thought of that connection even happening. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they would find common ground in that way. Seeing Jill Zarin again, I have been missing Jill from my screen since season 4 of Housewives of New York. And like, unlike some of them, like I feel like Brandy has been on Big Brother and Celebrity Apprentice and all these other like reality stops along the way of like post housewifedom. Jill has been like kind of nowhere to be found. And like seeing her, they try to recreate the Scary Island moment where all the girls are getting manicures and pedicures and Jill walks in with a shirt that says surprise. It's like, surprise, ladies. And Phaedra looks to someone else and says, who's that lady? She looks familiar.
Oh my God.
The best is that
that's brilliant.
Every single one of them assume that everyone else and that in the house like has watched every frame of their show. And Phaedra's like, I don't know who this woman is.
You like, think they did that homework?
Vicky's like, I don't know who Eva is. Phaedra doesn't know who Jill is. It's wonderful. Dorinda starts talking about her husband who passed away, Richard, like with no preamble, and Phaedra's like, well, who is Richard? It just is so glorious. And Eva and Phaedra are coming across so well. And we actually just recorded with my friend Janie, who has been on this podcast, and our friend Glenn. We are going to be putting out a special mini series of 2 Gay Matt's Housewife episodes about this specific series. So if you want to hear my full unfiltered thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip alongside some brilliant, hilarious women, just to keep your newsfeed alive, refresh your podcast app in a couple of days. You'll see a special episode and a few more special episodes between now and the end of the season, just because we thought it'd be fun. We have a lot of opinions. We have a lot of things to say. And we thought we should share it with the world.
Oh shit. Does this mean I have to do like a spin-off Big Brother podcast?
It does not, but like you can. You really can.
Okay, I'll borrow these microphones. Thank you. With the thing that you said that I love is like it feels like a comfort food because even though it's a different series and everything, it's still like these women who you saw women in yesteryear. In these franchises that like haven't been on these franchises in some of them a long time, and so it felt like coming back home again, but they're all together. It's the same thing like with Clifford. Like this week, it just felt like comfort food. And that feels so good.
That's what we needed to, because
a week like this,
we will
You're coming home again.
Yes, we need the comforts food because we will not have our souls be broken.
That's
Thanks
true.
to Beyonce, Clifford, and Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2.
You won't break my soul.
You will not break my soul.
God damn it.
I know. They're trying.
They're trying.
They can try.
They can try. I feel more like Big Frida in that song, like the exasperation of Big Frida, as opposed to the glorious liltiness of Beyonce in that song. But one day, when all is well, I will feel like the Beyonce of that song, being like, oh, they didn't break my soul.
We all will feel like Beyonce one day. That's truly the goal. So I think we're wrapping up. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people before we say goodbye?
I'm proud of us for being semi-quiet some of the time.
I'm proud of us as well. We did it.
We did it. We didn't wake Daddy.
We did not wake Granddaddy. Oh, and by the way, did I even tell you in the pod? They're moving.
Oh. Well, so long.
They will be missed. I'm sure they'll enjoy.
I mean, I assumed that's what it was.
Yeah, they're moving to Jersey. So you'll have
where in New Jersey?
I don't know. Watch out. Hopefully they're not your neighbors.
You know what they are in New Jersey?
What?
Loud.
That's a great point.
Like
someone should warn them. They don't know what's going on.
I know. Someone should let them know that get some earplugs.
You thought I was loud.
Yeah, girl.
Wait for it.
Yeah, girl. This is my home. This is my home. Okay, I know.
All right. Anything else we need to say to the people before we say goodbye?
You're all beautiful. You're all worthy.
Yes, and we love you all. Get your own comfort food, whatever it may be. And we'll see you next week with more 2 Gay Mats, the podcast.
Bye.
Bye.